Huge crowds turning out for Turning Point USA, the organization holding an event at Utah State University last night, and it did not disappoint, proving that the movement Charlie built is not going away. In fact, it's only getting stronger. Lines stretched out the door just to get into that arena, and it was packed to capacity. Organizers say more than 6,000 people came out to show their support, and the crowd erupted in Charlie chants. Now, Charlie was a big proponent of making our children healthier, whether that be spiritually or emotionally or physically. And last night's keynote speaker, Alex Clark, who's a rising star in the Turning Point USA movement, made a passionate speech calling on his supporters to continue that legacy.
We are sicker than we've ever been, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. So I interview the experts about relationships and parenting. We even talk about theology. We talk about corruption in our food system and the pharmaceutical industry, which is keeping Americans sick. And we do it all through the lens of truth. Charlie knew that if we wanted to win the culture war, we have to start at home with the women, the real change makers, the culture shifters, the ones who hold the key to revitalizing the American family and therefore our nation. It's women. I told Charlie that MAHA, Make America Healthy Again, was the way to reach the young moms. I told him women may not all exactly agree on your gun stance or immigration, but they did agree on one thing, and that is that America was sick, that our children are on a downward health spiral that cannot be ignored. Charlie trusted me, and he said, then let's seize the common ground. Let's make TPUSA MAHA.
Dr. Siegel, making MAGA, MAHA, Charlie Kirk was instrumental to that, instrumental to getting RFK Jr. over. That happened at a Turning Point USA event. And now you see this merger in the voice of Alex Clark in Turning Point.
I love it. I love it. Listen, 55% of Americans are eating predominantly ultra-processed foods. And 73% of all our food is ultra-processed, meaning you don't know where it came from. It looks like a chemical. It tastes like a chemical, and it's wildly addictive. And so we need a counter-addiction going to actually move that needle. And the only thing I would add to what she said is it's not just the pharmaceutical industry. It's the combination of the pharmaceutical industry and the insurance companies, because they actually want you to be sick because they make more of a profit and you pay higher premiums. And it's just because they say, oh, you're going to get sick. Well, if you're obese and your blood pressure is too high and you have diabetes, you know, you're sick and you got to see me, and you may have a higher risk of cancer, too. So they get you that way. And that's the sick care system. But if you exercise regularly, and we're going to talk about that in the next segment, if you exercise regularly and you lose weight and you eat right, you're not going to need the services. Maybe you want to pay a lower premium. So that's the role the insurance companies are playing. And as you know, President Trump just went after this yesterday and took on Pfizer and negotiating lower prices. I love that.
Yeah, we saw that here, Harris, taking on the pharmaceutical companies, making huge change. And that was just the first of many to come.
Yeah, you know what? I love what you said. I wrote it down. It's a sick care system. You know, everything is kind of built into that. If 73% of our food is ultra processed, what does that leave for people to eat? Like this is, and the pricing is built into that as well. So your most expensive foods are going to fall out of that 73%. How do we turn it around?
Well, you know, Ben Carson just got added to the picture here on the USDA side, and I really like that. Farm to table should mean farm to table. Let's grow more produce, and let's get the farmers involved, and let's get that into the dining rooms.
Yeah. Well said. We also heard from Alex Clark, women, and how important women are, and bringing Gen Z women in particular. Charlie Kirk had a message about that. Listen to this.
We are seeing some promising trends. Church attendance is slightly going up. Gen Z, especially Gen Z men, are more religious than millennial men, and it is increasing and growing. And young women, we got some things to work through.
Emily, young women, that's who Alex Clark was speaking to.
Yeah, and I think there are certain things that are influenceable and subject to persuasion and trends, and there's other things that are fundamental. And the latter category is people's children. and their protection of the home. And I think the spiritual sickness is obviously the first and foremost need of our country right now. But they're absolutely right. My point is to focus on these women that are stewards of the health of their home. Men are the head of the household, but women are protecting their children and the health. And that is something that a trend doesn't impact. So by these guys coming in and saying, listen, this is the best thing. We are, however, totally enslaved to this medical industrial complex. You know, it's not about just growing more food by the farmers when half of it is subsidized. And the reality is that getting from the farms to the table is so difficult. Right. It's so costly to eat organically, but it's completely free to go to church, to accept Christ, and to prioritize health, no matter what the cost. Because at the end of the day, if you're eating whole foods and trying desperately not to have preservatives and all of those terrible chemicals, then that will open everything up. So I think that it is such a wonderful stride because this will spread like wildfire, and it's exciting to see.
Yeah, Rosanna, I have these like little mini crises of conscience when, you know, my son is like, I want the fruit snacks, Mom, fruit snacks, he says.
I know.
And I'm like, do I get them or do I not? And then me, just like the gummy bears, I was like, do I get them or not? I want that dye. I'm going to eat it.
I think about all the stuff that I gave my kids when they were growing up. And now we find out, who knew, by the way, that, you know, America, one of the richest countries in the world, and we're still giving our kids stuff that's banned in Europe. I mean, all these food dyes, all these cereals with food dyes, things that like titanium dioxide is in our food. It's a whitening agent that we use. Potassium bromate. We use it in dough and bread. If you can barely say the word, we should not be able to give it to our kids. It does have an effect on them. And now we're learning, okay, you know, body positivity is great. Love your body. But it's not one size fits all, okay? Everybody has to be healthy, whether it's physically and spiritually. We have to make an effort now to start reading the labels. If you can't pronounce what's on the label, do not give it to your kid.
That is a great rule of thumb. I'm going to start using that. All right.
Chelsea Clinton has launched a new podcast she says is based on debunking health misinformation. In an X post Wednesday, Clinton shared the link to That Can't Be True with Chelsea Clinton, along with a caption introducing the show. How many of us have looked at the latest headlines and thought, that can't be true? Starting tomorrow, I hope you will join me and a series of experts on my new podcast, That Can't Be True. Together, we will sort fact from fiction, especially on issues impacting our health, she wrote. That Can't Be True debuted Thursday on major podcast platforms. 2 full episodes premiered on Spotify, one featuring Dr. Jessica Nurick on seed oils, raw milk, and baby formula, and another discussing misconceptions about midwives and what Clinton calls America's broken birthing system, with former Teen Vogue editor and Project Runway judge Elaine Welteroth. The podcast also released 2 shorter bonus episodes, a 6-minute segment on tips for spotting pseudoscience and a 15-minute interview with Welteroth on preventing pregnancy-related complications across the U.S. The show description says, things are getting weird in the world of public health. Childhood vaccines are suddenly up for debate. Fluoride is being described as industrial waste, and it feels like everyone is talking about raw milk. Navigate this chaotic time with public health expert Dr. Chelsea Clinton, who every week talks to doctors, dietitians, parenting experts, and more to expose pseudoscience and help us sort fact from fiction. Clinton is not a medical doctor. According to the Clinton Foundation, Clinton holds a doctorate in international relations from Oxford University and a master's degree in public health from Columbia University. Clinton's podcast launch comes amid disputes over public health policy and leadership in the United States. The podcast is widely being viewed as a rebuke of the Make America Healthy Again movement. MAHA proponent and Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has faced scrutiny from Democratic lawmakers in recent weeks over his vaccine skepticism and his overhaul of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Callie Means, a top RFK ally and promoter of wellness alternatives, criticized the podcast on X, saying that Clinton was essentially agreeing with Kennedy's belief that the country is too sick. Just listen to Chelsea Clinton's Anti-MAHA podcast, he wrote. The argument of the episode is RFK is right, that we're disastrously sick, but it's dangerous to question the status quo.